Welcome everybody, welcome to 10 Grape Escape Destinations to Wine For in 2021. Well, we don't have a specific destination for you at the moment. What we do have is an interesting talk on solo female travelers. This is a growing segment in wine tourism. So in other words, we're about to discover how the women's mind works when it comes to wine tours, we hope. We do have Valerie with us, who's going to give you the presentation, but at the moment we have some sound issues. Let me just check she can hear me. Oh, we can hear her. No, we can't. Not to worry, because we've been very clever and we've pre-recorded the presentation just in case we get any technical hitches. So we can watch the presentation, and if you do have any questions, Valerie can at least answer them on the chat facility. Chat facility is on the right there, where you can say hello. Well, a lot of you are saying hello already. Claudia, Tracy, Karen from New York City, from Paris, from Athens, snowy Athens, Rodania. So if you do have a question, we'll do our very best to answer the question once the presentation is over, which takes about 15 or so minutes, okay? Before that, though, we, as usual, have a poll question with a very special prize at the end. So if you get it right, you'll get a very special prize all the way from St. Petersburg, where Valerie, as I understand it, is at the moment, maybe snowed in, maybe internet lines are frozen. And anyway, we hope to be able to hear from her, at least we'll hear from her in writing, if not in voice. So the poll question is, what percentage of wine sales do women account for in the US? And so let's start that now, and we'll vote now as soon as it comes up. Is it 39%, 49%, 59%, or 69%? Okay, so the majority are going for 59% of wine sales accounted for by women. Well, let's see if that's right. When we see the Valerie giving the presentation, fortunately we've got it recorded. So we just end the poll now, and let's go to the presentation. We pull that in for you, and here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to welcome you for my webinar. I would love to thank also Mr. Anthony Swift and the whole Wine Pleasures team for giving me the opportunity to talk to such a great audience. A few words about myself. My name is Valeria Tennyson. I'm originally from Russia, but I live in France. My background is hospitality. I'm a sommelier, but I'm also a wine tourism professional, as I did my master's thesis in wine tourism at the University of Bordeaux. And tonight I would love to present you a part of my work, which is called Solo Female Travelers as a Growing Segment in Wine Tourism. And I hope that it will be an interesting topic for you. And please prepare your questions, and I would be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. So who are solo travelers? The answer is obvious. They are people who travel alone on their own without their families or friends, but also they are small groups of individual travelers, and agencies organizing such tours are growing nowadays as we. Studies show that 63% of solo travelers are female, and 60% of the UK and US solo travelers are over 55 years old. The number is easily explained by the fact that by this age, many people get divorced or widowed. Their children are already grown up and have their own families. So people start to travel solo more and more often. This age is actually much younger in New Zealand and Australia and some developing countries like Russia, like Brazil, like China. So 50% of solo female travelers have college or university degree, so they are well-educated people in general, and they are frequent travelers, so they travel more than 3 times per year. It's important to mention that during my studies, I noticed that most of the researches were performed in the US, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. And Europe is far behind in terms of quality and quantity of studies. So this topic should be definitely studied more in Europe. Why I think it's a trend, the solo female travel. It is easily proven by the number of Google searches for solo female travel, which has grown a lot since 2017. So it was 32% in 2017, 59% in 2018, and 230% in 2019. So the growth, and then it reached actually 100 million searches for Google for solo female travel. So I definitely see a trend here. So what female travelers are looking for in their travels? Talking about motivations of solo female travelers, it's essential to underline that the concept of leisure for women is quite recent. It did not exist a lot before 1980s. Women's role in the society was more housekeeping and family, and women were much less involved in leisure activities than men. The only sphere where women were somehow empowered was shopping. But nowadays, obviously, the things have changed, though there are still some traditional societies where women still have this kind of a housekeeping role. Women are looking for freedom and escape, freedom of actions and choices. They are unwilling to coordinate their actions or to wait for anyone. They also would love to escape the family routine and the pressure of the society. They are looking for self-challenge and stepping out of their comfort zone. And here we also need to talk about the constraints that women experience during solo travel. And the main issue here is safety. Safety is the main factor when women are choosing accommodation, means of transportation, and even the destination itself. So it's also in this context, we need to understand that safety does not only mean real threats, but also a psychological perception of being safe, feeling of vulnerability, and lack of confidence. In some societies, also social expectations might play as a constraint, because women traveling solo is not considered a widely accepted thing. Our mission as wine tourism professionals is definitely to create a very safe and secure environment for our female visitors. Education, acquiring new skills is another motivation, and it's not only during travel, it's during the whole life of a woman. For example, language courses are the most significant share of the language courses all over the world is women. And for example, when I was studying Italian in Russia, 85–90% of my fellow students were female, and some of them were 20 years old, some of them were 65 years old. So women love to study during whole their lifetime. And also today we talk about the edutainment, which is education plus entertainment, a new concept which can be really interesting for wine tourism, and also it's proven to be highly effective. Adventure and eye-opening experiences. So always looking at different cultures, living a different life in a way when you travel. It's a great experience, and for women, it's the way not only to explore the world, but to understand their own inner world better, to understand themselves better. Social interaction, meeting different people, it's enriching, studying new traditions and seeing new ways of life. And the multisensory encounter experience. So this is the experience that affects several senses at the same time. In relation to wine tourism, there are plenty of opportunities, tasting with music, tasting with colors, smells, textures, visual effects, etc. Combinations are endless. For example, here in Bordeaux, in Chateau Smith Lafitte, we have La Forêt des Sens, the forest of senses, where visitors can touch art objects, they can feel the smells of the forest, they can hear the music sometimes, and obviously at the end of the tour they get a glass of wine, which is a nice bonus as well. So this can be an example of a multisensory experience. So now I would love to talk about feminization of wine, the term that was first used in 2014 by Jensen Robinson. So it's nowadays women are becoming more and more important in the wine world. What does it really mean, the feminization? So let's say before the 21st century, wine was a man's thing, like cars or golf. Nowadays, we see many more women winemakers, we see female sommeliers, wine writers, wine journalists, etc., wine bloggers as well. For example, in the last World Sommelier Cup in 2019, Nina Jensen from Denmark got the second place, and she was very, very close to the first place. That is the situation that no one could imagine in 1990s, where 100% of the participants of these competitions were male. Today, women are responsible for 59% of US wine sales, and 7 out of 10 bottles of wine in the UK are bought by women. So the trend of feminization is obviously there. We often hear that men are better spenders and wine connoisseurs. Nowadays, it's wrong. Women are already the most powerful economic force in the world wine market. This is a quote by Felicity Carter, editor-in-chief of Wine Universe Wine Business International magazine, a very important and established wine magazine. They are based in Germany, but they write in English, so they cover the whole world. And so Felicity says also that women are very important in wine nowadays. But men and women buy wine in a different way. Men care about the status. They care about critics' points, reviews, and ratings. Robert Parker's Image and Glory were created by men. Men love to spend their money on rare, unique bottles, great collections, and all these proves them to be wine connoisseurs and wine lovers among their friends. So again, it proves their status. They also like to look manly. This is an interesting point also from Felicity Carter, that she mentioned it in the Must Wine Summit in Portugal in 2019. And she gave an example of very spicy food, for example, potato chips, that are marketed especially for men. In fact, studies show that men don't really like the taste of these extremely hot and spicy chips, but they still buy them because these chips make them look more manly. And so the products, even in the wine world, something like Shiraz Double Wood or wine aged in whiskey barrels or wine made for steak. All these products are marketed for men because they make them look more manly instead. When women buy wine, they are looking for a different thing. First of all, women are buying wine casually on a regular basis, like they buy bread or milk. So for them, the taste is the most important because they are looking for pleasure. It's a hedonistic experience. They also love to share wine with their friends and family, and they feel emotions. And so also a label is important because it gives you nice feelings. They love the stories behind wines as well. So they are a completely different buyer profile than men. When we go back to wine tourism, there was an interesting study made in 2006 by Carlson when he studied importance of wine tour components for different travelers, male and female. And he found out that scenery, weather, and food served are much more important tour components for women than for men. It actually correlates well with my previous slides about the aesthetic and hedonistic nature of female buying behavior. Women are looking for enjoyable ambience, top-notch customer service, savvy personnel, socializing, and overall holistic experience. They love all their five senses to be involved and pleased. Many of you would ask me this question. So, do women really buy wine visiting wineries? And my answer is yes, they do, but in their own way. Women buy wine more emotionally than rationally, often as a gesture of gratitude for welcoming them. They are more sentimental, so they buy a lot of souvenirs for their family, friends, family, and for themselves. So they often buy these memorability items, which have even better margin sometimes than the wine. So the aprons, corkscrews, magnets, etc., whatever your imagination can think about. Women do not often buy cases or boxes of wine, that's true. But if they had a great experience in your place, they become devoted ambassadors of your brand and share their emotions with their family, with their friends, and through their social media, which is also a very important thing now. So if in your business model, a wine tourism department is not only a point of sale, but also a marketing and PR tool, female travelers might be an interesting segment for you to consider and develop a special program for. So on this last slide, I would love to show this beautiful picture from a winery in Philadelphia in the US, where we can see a great example of winery experience targeted for women. The tasting is outside. You can see the beautiful vineyard. You can feel the breeze, the smells of the garden. Enjoy your glass of wine, sharing with your friends, and probably learn some new things about wine. And after all, buy something in the winery, or at least tell your friends how great your experience was. So this is my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and I will be happy to.
Thank you to Valerie for the informative talk. I was simply giving my experience of working with women travelers. In fact, they do travel alone, basically taking 2 holidays a year, one with the family and one without the family. Okay, we'll have to cut that out where there's no sound. So all we can say is thank you to Valerie for the presentation, and unfortunately we're not able to hear her, and we have posted the email at the top there of the chat. If you want to send your questions to her, she'd be delighted to answer them. Okay, so it just leaves me to say thank you to all of you for watching in and attending and bringing to my attention that you couldn't hear me. I'd just like to finish by saying what we've got coming up next week, next Thursday, Grape Escape Destination Day every Thursday. Next Thursday, 25th February at 4 o'clock Central European Time. We're going to Sicily, journey to Sicily to discover a world of wine with Daniela Marino and Valeria Carastro. And following that, we're shooting across the Atlantic to Canada with Christine Mansui, and she'll be taking us on a tour through the emerging cool climate wine destinations, Canada, and I think there's the whole spread of the whole of Canada will be mentioned there. Okay, well, sorry about the technical hitches, no sound, that we can't have Valerie with us to answer your questions in person, but as I said, do send her an email, and we look forward to seeing you to the next week for the Grape Escape Destinations to wine for in 2021. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.